Hello, and welcome to another game development broadcast for Project CSK. I am the creator of the project, and the online name that I go by is Des. We're going to continue working on the project like we've been doing for quite some time now, and I had some time to kind of work out a few details over the weekend. Or, sorry, in between the last broadcast, should I say. We haven't had the weekend yet. It will be the weekend. And I'm hoping that it'll be a good one too. But I had an opportunity to work out some of the things, and then I realized that I needed a little bit more pixel art. I'm still looking for an artist, of course. If you happen to know anyone, or if you happen to be an artist who has this specific skill set and understanding, which is crucial to be able to make artwork for this project specifically to match the requirements of the project, then reach out to me. But I'm still looking. So what I'll be doing is a little bit of pixel art today. I don't know if I'll be doing any programming today, but I'll definitely go over some of the stuff that I did in between the previous broadcast and this broadcast, and then we'll jump right into it. So I believe I have my local server set up right now. And yeah, so server's up, test game room is up. Okay, let's have a look at this and see how does this look. And I think this should still work. Yeah, okay, so that still works. Okay, cool. So what I'll do is I'm going to run it, and I'm going to jump into a game room. So you'll see that I have the position stuff mostly figured out. There's still, of course, more to do, but at this time, I'm confident enough with it that I can move on to something else and then come back to it later on and continue to increment on it. So right now I just created the game room. So we're waiting for the round to begin. And then once the round begins, right? So we have Jane in the bottom right here, and then we have my character up in the top left. So when I move my character around, you can see that I do move to the exact correct position on the other client. So it's communicating through the TCP/IP socket connection through to the server. The server is taking that information, validating it, and then synchronizing the other client. And then vice versa as well. So with this client, when I move this client around, it does synchronize. So it doesn't matter. I already tested it with however many number of players there are. What I want to do is, because the current pixel art, the temporary artwork that I'm using, doesn't quite really meet the intended usage. And I needed to make some stuff. So that's kind of what I got started on a little bit, and I'll show you what I mean. But for right now, I can even go in and place a explosive and destroy something. There is no destroy animation and whatnot. The bombs don't show up, the pickup items don't show up. But you'll see one thing right away is when I place an explosive, it's kind of hidden, right? It's because the objects on the Unity client, there's too much height to them. And on the old Flash client, I intentionally made the objects at that angle and at that height so they are not obstructing the view of something that's behind it, or a pickup object, or whatever the case may be. Like if I place an explosive here, you can clearly see that there's enough space or visual canvas space for it to kind of pop out in behind the object. But the trees, like if you look at it in comparison of where I am, you're basically in the Unity client, the trees, they kind of block the path. So they're not really appropriate for this, and they're not meant to be. They're meant for more of the environment, aesthetics, and world and whatnot. Right. So this is kind of how far I got into it, in that it doesn't crash. There's no errors. In terms of errors, I think we're good on that. So let's have a look at it and see. I just want to double check before I move on. So out of all those packets, I'm just looking to see if there's any errors that stand out. No, so we're good. We are good. No errors. Nothing critical. Okay, so yeah, we're good. So what I'd like to do is continue with kind of where I was working on yesterday or the day before. I don't remember exactly, but I was doing some pixel art stuff, or should I say, I was prepping to do some pixel art stuff, and I was just getting into it. So let me show you what I made. Whoops, that. Okay, so here's the new items that I made. So this one here is going to be our new pillar, right? It's the exact size so that when it's at the correct angle of perspective, it's not going to obstruct something that is directly behind it. Same with the new ground cube that's going to be destroyable. And I tried to make them somewhat similar to the Flash counterpart. So this one I did first, and then I exported, and I think it turned out well. Aesthetically, it will work out well because of its simplicity when it's converted into pixel art at that 55-degree angle of perspective. And then this one here is, of course, just really, really simple. And I'm going to keep it simple for now. Later on, I want to have different destroyable objects, of course. But for right now, just because of what we had before, which was, where are we? This here, right? You can see that the cubes, they're just cubes. They look aesthetically like candy, but really they're just kind of cubes, and they have a bit of a distortion up in their top. So their top is slightly narrower in comparison to their base, and that's intentional by design, just to kind of make it stand out a bit more. And it's kind of like an aesthetic thing, really. But I don't want everything to be perfectly cubes and squares and spheres, right? We do want a little bit of distortion because it adds style to the overall look. But so that's kind of the idea. Is I did bring in the pillar into Aseprite, but I have yet to bring in this cube. So I want to bring this in. I know it's simple. It's kind of easy to, not difficult, should I say, to make it, but I want to keep it pixel wise. I want it to be accurate to match the appropriate angle of perspective and the correct size and everything too. So what I'll be doing is similar to the other stuff. I'll just scale this up or make the canvas area a little bit bigger. I'm just going to grab a screenshot of, let's see, I'll need a reference as well. Okay, whatever. I'll just do that. Okay. And then what I do is I take a screenshot, I bring it into Photoshop, and then I scale it so it's the correct width in its pixel size. And then when it matches the correct width, then that means the height is also correct. So that's kind of something that I do. All right, so let's make this a bit bigger. And we will zoom in a bit. Okay, so I need to see what the size is here. So this is 52. So 52, to convert 52 into 40 width, we need to say 40 divided by 52, and we get our percentage. So that's our percentage, and that's the amount that I'm going to scale this image by. So we'll go to image scale, and then we'll go by percentage size. So it will be 76.92, I guess. Yeah, 76.92. Okay. So with that sized, this should give me an approximate 40 or very close to it. Yeah, that's close enough, right? So that's 40 right there. There's a little bit of anti-aliasing and blurring and whatnot, but I don't care. It's close enough, right? And that's what I needed. So take this and then export that for as a PNG file, and I'll just drop it on my desktop for now. I'm not too concerned about it. Okay, so I don't need those. What I'll need to do is bring up Aseprite, And you can see I kind of got started on that one. So we'll say file, open, desktop. Okay, and there's our, whoops, it's not what I meant to do. We'll grab that and bring it into here and drop it on my reference layer. So references. And I want to put it on the same reference layer as this one. Okay. Okay, and then I don't need this anymore, and I can delete it from my desktop because we are done with that. Okay, so that's my image, or my reference image, should I say. It is the correct scale, which is great. So I can just remove this extra stuff that I don't need. So I already, I just need this, and it's at the correct size. So that's really all I need. And I'll put it right beside this one. That way we can see both of them. But right now I'm going to work on the pillar first, and then I'm going to move on to this object, and we'll make both of them as a pixel art kind of thing. And I still have this open, right, on this side, just so I can reference it and see, just in case, if I need to make a decision of putting a pixel on one location versus another, or what should be lighter or what should be darker. Because when you take that and you scale it down into this small, you lose a lot of detail, right? So there are certain times when you need to make decisions, and those decisions can be a deciding factor of, you know, something that you may or may not regret down the line, right? So for right now, what I need to do is go up to my layers, going to be the plant. Nope, wrong layer. It's going to be game room pillar. Yeah, okay, so this is the layer that we're currently working on. And this is the layer that I'll be kind of just trying to figure out what to do with this object here. So this one I think is fairly good in terms of its overall. It'll look a lot better, of course, once it's colored, but I'm just trying to capture the essence. It doesn't have to be a perfect looking 3D object. I want to capture the essence and the style of it, and then have it be represented in pixel art. And the advantage with doing this is that I can also see the shadowing, right? I know exactly where the shadows are going to be, so I know where to put my highlights and where to put the shadows, and that's really helpful when doing pixel art like this, is to be able to have something to reference, especially for someone like me who's relatively new to pixel art, because I'm learning this stuff pretty much as I go through it, right? I'm just winging it, really. Let's see. So what we want to do is create a, nope, not what I wanted. Create a oval about here to here. Yeah, that looks about right, I think. Whatever. Is that not a perfect sphere? It doesn't look like it is. Because a perfect sphere would look like that. I see. Okay, so I can either make it this size or this size. I'm kind of leaning towards this, but let's see. How does this look over top of this? Pretty much the same thing. But I do want it to be a sphere, because no matter what perspective you look at a sphere, it's always going to be a sphere. That's one of the neat things about a sphere, is it's just has some interesting characteristics. Okay, so I'm just going to erase the outlining here. And then I'm still not decided if I want to have this one, or if I want to have 1 pixel bigger. So let's have a look at it here. I don't think it really needs to be bigger. Oh, actually, now that I realize it, it goes inward, right? So this is what's good about having a reference, right? So we don't want it to be a perfect sphere. On the bottom section of it, there should be a little bit of it cut out. And I want that intentionally because it adds, however small of a detail it is, it adds to the overall aesthetic. So we will go 1 bigger then. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Shift U. I can't remember that shortcut. Okay, so we're going 1 bigger. And then we need to kind of make this part a little bit, or cut it inward a little bit. But let's move this into position first and just kind of have a look at it. Yeah, I think that would make more sense. And then we'll just bring this in just a little bit. It's a very small detail, but I think it does make a difference in the end. So what we'll do is we'll grab this and bring this line up. And then go and remove this, right? So that now kind of feels a bit more like this here. It's not really noticeable, especially not at this scale, but it's just one of those smaller details that helps with the overall look and feel of an object, in my opinion. So then with that, what I should be able to do is now do these outlines of kind of the leaps. Yeah. So let's do that. And I'll grab like a darker color. And just go to pretty much the halfway point, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it right down the middle. I'm going to copy it, duplicate it, and then flip it horizontally because it's both. It's the exact same on both sides. So it should, in theory, work, but we'll see. I'm just trying to think pixel-wise what makes kind of more sense here. I'm not a big fan of this here. I think it looks a little bit off. So maybe deviate from that a little bit and go like this. And then from here, go like that, I think. I think that makes a little bit more sense. Then maybe even go like this. We'll see. We will see. Okay, so with that, what I can do now is, actually, I kind of want to move this up 1 pixel. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. So move that up 1 pixel. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. So if we grab it right down the middle pretty much, duplicate it, Shift H to flip it. Right about there. I think that's somewhat correct. Yeah, I think that looks okay. I mean, of course, I'll clean it up and whatnot, but for the most part, I think it looks fine. Yeah, let's go with that for now. And then, of course, I'll revise it as needed. So let's grab some colors here. This white color can be our white. And then this blue color can be our blue. And then yellow. I know it doesn't look that great quite yet, but it'll look better. It will once we get to that point. It just needs a little bit of touch up, and it'll end up looking pretty good, I think. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's figure out some nice colors for this. What do we have blue-wise that I can sample from? Let's go into our for export. So blue-wise, those blue colors are kind of nice. So I can take those blue colors. Yellow, I can probably take from this. So we can take that yellow. It's kind of more like an orangish yellow, but that's fine. Not a big deal. And then in terms of the blue, I do like this blue. So what about if we went with this blue? And then for the white-ish part, instead of pure white, because I'd like to maybe not use pure white, and I guess just go with a really light blue then. Let's see, how does that look? I kind of like the white better, actually. I think it'll help it stand out more, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's add the dark parts a little bit. So we'll hide that. And then what we'll do is I just want to take this, grab that, duplicate it, because we're going to deviate away from it a little bit. And then we'll go to our magic wand. W. Let's see if I can remember this shortcut. I don't do pixel art nowhere close to enough to be able to remember these shortcuts. So what happens is I just end up forgetting the shortcuts again and again. So it's something I want to try to remember or use more of if possible. Okay, so let's grab any color really, and then just do these. I need something that's kind of stands out and is different. Let's just grab this for now. Okay, so our highlight points are going to be I'm referencing the Unity client, of course, to see where the highlights would be and where the dark would be. So from what I can see, there should be a little bit of darkness at the bottom here. So we'll say that this area up to about, yeah, all the way up to here, it's got this little bit of dark shading to it. And then at this point is when it kind of curves upward. Maybe even extend that to about here. Like that. And then there's also a little bit of shading in this area because of the overlap. Okay, so that's going to be a bit of a lighter shade. And then over here we have, so we have light here, and then we got a little bit darker of a shading here on this area. So that's going to be a tiny bit darker. So I'll grab from here and kind of just enhance that or make it stand out a bit. And then I'll come back and I'll put in proper colors. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's do that. So this area, yeah, I have a darker color. This is going to be a bit darker in terms of the shading intensity. And it's going to kind of come out to about here. So it's going to be roughly something like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just need it to be good enough. And I think that's pretty good right there. Maybe like this even. It's hard to tell when looking at it like that. I'll need to look at it. Let's try this, because if I run it, I have this script that it'll snap to its exact camera perspective. There we go. So that's the correct camera perspective. And let's remove the, let's remove the wiring. So we'll just go with shading. Yeah, so this is the slightly darker shading that I was talking about. Usually you wouldn't get that in pixel art, but because we're using 3D references, it helps us get these kinds of details that you normally wouldn't have or wouldn't even notice. Okay, no, I'm happy with this. Okay, so this will be the light color. This kind of would be the medium, and then this would be the darker of it. So then the question is, what color do we go with, right? Because if we went pure white, so that would be white. Then we would have, and this is just trying to figure out what would be the good colors here. So this would be gray. Probably this one dot here too. And then do a fill here. Grab that one. And then this would be darker. And that would be this area. That the darkest part is a bit too dark, of course, or really dark, should I say. I only want it to really be a tiny bit darker. Not that much, just so it's kind of noticeable, but not really that noticeable. Maybe a tiny bit darker than that. Maybe not even that dark. It all depends on the colors, really. I think it'll come down to what colors we end up using. And then this outermost black line, of course, is not supposed to be black. That's supposed to be a kind of like a darker gray, maybe. Because I do like the idea of making the outlines something other than just pure black. I think it helps it just kind of stand out a little bit more, because you can make some outlines pure black and that works, but when something has a color, if you make the outlines the same color or slightly darker of the current color, then that kind of makes a difference, in my opinion. So if we were to go from there and then make this like so, right? It's very subtle, but it is there. Oops, sorry, I hit the mic. It's subtle, but it kind of works. All right, so with that, we'll go up to the blue and do the same thing. So for the blue, though, what's going to be our dark color? Oh, let's bring this back. For blue, what's going to be our dark color for separation? I think this one might work. No, maybe not. Need some darker. How about that one? No, probably not. Let's figure that out afterward then. What I'll do is I'll just do the inner, similar to how I did the very bottom disc, and then we'll do this one, and then we'll come back and we'll do the outlines, I guess, afterward. Something like that. Okay. Right. Same idea as before. So I'm looking at the Unity object to see where the shadows and the highlights are. It looks kind of the same consistency-wise. Now that I look at it, this looks like it actually should be more like this. Yeah, I think that makes it look a bit more, okay. Anyway, so then what we'll do is we'll do same idea here. And we'll go and do the little dark spots, or the darker locations a little bit. Okay. And then this is going to come to about here, or maybe even here. Yeah, so about there. Maybe even this little dot here. Yeah. Okay, so that'll be one of them. And then the darker portion of it will be similar to the other one, but not exact, of course. So about there. It really does kind of feel like it's... It's difficult to say exactly where these shadows should, or the darker shading should go, but I kind of feel like it should be here. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so then the light color would go here, and then from this color we'll make some other colors from it. So then what we'll do is we will make this slightly darker. Okay, maybe not that dark, just slightly. Okay, that's too light. Let's go a little bit more stronger of a difference. Okay, and then even darker or stronger, however you want to look at that. Okay, and then the outline. The outline, what I'm thinking is drop that saturation. Go about there. Okay, and then a slightly lighter version of it. Right here, even though it's not really noticeable, we'll see how that goes. I may or may not continue to do that, but I'll definitely need to revise these colors moving forward, and we'll get to that. But for right now, I think this is okay. So let's see then. Now we need to do this, the third disc, and then we'll just continue to work our way up. Yeah, okay. So for this one, we'll do the same thing. I like this color here for now, just because it stands out and it's different than the others. It just helps me visually see kind of where I should be putting my, my highlighting. Okay, so this one goes to about there, and then we'll go like so. Yeah, maybe even like this. Yeah, because it's pixels, so it's really difficult to say. Okay, let's grab the dark part, and that will be about this area here, roughly speaking, of course. Doesn't have to be exact, but I think that's pretty close to it. And then I'll just grab these colors from here and just reuse these colors for consistency. Okay, so we're slowly getting there. Slowly. Okay, and then I want the slightly lighter outlining over on this side. Okay, so it's starting to take shape. A little bit more to go, and then we'll get to see what it actually looks like once it's kind of ready. Okay, so the leaf and the base. Okay, so I'll do this part first, and then we'll kind of do the leaf pattern and the sphere on top. That'll help kind of, I think, separate it out, make it a little bit easier instead of trying to do all of it just at once. So again, I'll use this. So we'll put our little bit of shading at the bottom area here, I guess. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. So about there, and then it kind of goes across. So it goes across in this curvature. So if we follow that curvature, it's roughly like this. Not exactly, of course. So roughly like that, and then a little bit of darker shading just below that. So about here, at least that's what I think I see. So let's go with that, right? So we'll put our lighter color here. We'll put the slightly darker shading here. And then the little bit more darker shading over here. I think I need to darken up these shaded parts a bit, but we'll come back to that though. We'll definitely come back to that. So then this should also fill in these areas. Oops. Like so. And then we'll go and do a little bit of the outline. The outline, what I've been doing is if it's an inner kind of outline, it'll be not quite as dark, but when it goes outside of the object, the outermost outline, what I've been doing is just making it a bit more darker, just to kind of make it stand out and have more of a separation in between whatever this object is nearby, or whenever it's nearby another, or whether the background, okay, that's not dark enough. I just wanted to be able to differentiate, really. That's kind of the goal. So let's go with this. I don't think this is dark enough either, but we'll just go with this for now. Yeah, I do want to make it a tiny bit darker. Okay, so that brings us then to the leaf pattern. So let's go with this again, just because that black is way too dark. I actually even want to soften it up, but I want to see it as a gray first, and we'll continue to tweak the colors and make iterative adjustments moving forward. And I think we'll be able to get a pretty good, decent result. But for right now, I just need to be able to see it. I just need to be able to visualize it, and then we'll adjust the colors. Okay, so then that brings us to the top, kind of the centerpiece. So this one here, I'll do the same thing, I guess. So this one has a darker kind of little bit to it going from here, like so. Maybe not quite that drastic. No, I guess we'll just leave it as that. That's fine. Okay. So that will be one piece of it, but then it has a little bit more of a dark spot here, and we'll put a little bit of a highlight up here as well, is kind of what I'm thinking. So in terms of the highlight, we can do that quite easily. So highlight should be about here, roughly. And then the other portion of the shading, I think would be about, it's hard to say. Because it's like a visual, I don't know what you would even call that. It's like a visual illusion of sorts. Kind of makes me feel like it's like that, but I'm not so sure it is. But let's try that anyway. Okay, so this will make slightly darker version of that. Put that there, and then same color. We'll make a slightly darker version of that and put that right there. That's definitely too dark, but that's fine. Okay, and then we'll need a little bit of an outline for it. Okay, so this is too dark. I want to reduce that a little bit. And that needs to be considerably darker. It's all about just iterating on it, really, is basically how I do things. It doesn't always work out the first time or the second time, or sometimes not even the third or fourth time, right? But I just keep going with it until it eventually starts to make sense. So that outline, I really feel like it should be stronger. Yeah, it does need to be stronger. Okay, so if it's this strong here, then it needs to be about that there, roughly speaking. Okay, so let's do the kind of the leaf pattern real quick. And this is where things get a little bit tricky, is because this sphere is also casting a shadow of sorts onto the leaf, which I don't really want to do. So I'll probably just cheat that shadow just because I don't want to do so many color variations right now. I don't want to commit to something like that quite yet because I'm going to keep adjusting it. So what we'll do is we'll create a shadow layer and just add what I think is the shadow, and then add just alpha to it. And that'll work for now because I want to adjust the colors to make it look good. That's kind of my goal right now, is to get it to be something that looks good. So to do that, then we're going to be going, oops. So that will be white. This will, nope, definitely don't want to do that just yet. Okay, so we'll make this a little bit grayish. I keep forgetting which tool is currently active. So if that's grayish at that point, then that means the gray should continue throughout here. A little bit darker on this side. I want to kind of follow this curvature here if I can. I think that's kind of close enough for now. Need a little bit of gray over here. And maybe 1 pixel of the dark. Okay, I think that's fine for now. Let's add the white coloring. Okay, so that helps me visualize it a bit better. No, don't want to do that there. probably add this one here. Yeah, it looks kind of like a decent line. Okay, and then let's bring this over here as well. Okay. I think once I tweak these colors a bit more, this will look really good actually. It's just a matter of figuring out the colors. Because I think the overall shape is good. We got the outlining, we got the shadows, all of it is in the right place. It's just a matter of figuring out the colors now. I think that's what's, oh yeah, I was going to do that other shadow. So let's create a new layer. Going to copy this name into here and then put shadow. Okay, and then this shadow is going to be pure black. And it's going to go pretty much from here to kind of this area like this. Something like that. Right? I'll tweak it a little bit if I can get it to look right. I think that's about as good as it's kind of going to be for now. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll bring down the alpha of this layer down to about 70. That way we get that overlapping. Maybe 70 is a bit too much. Bring it down even more then. Okay, let's go with that for now. That way it just creates an illusion of the shadow and I don't have to do all of these colors, because then that gives me the freedom to continue to edit the layer below it, which I plan on doing. Okay, so let's adjust these colors now. But what I want is I need a reference for the other colors to have a bit of consistency. I don't really want to use those colors, but I do like some of the colors that it has. Like for example, this outline color, I think would work well here. It'll really help this thing pop. Okay, so if that was our outline, then I want to darken this up a little bit more to make it kind of match. So where else do we have blues? Okay. We can borrow from here, I guess. Let's see if we can make this work. So if that was our dark, and then this would be our darkest. I think that's too much of a color difference for this to be the light. Because I like the... No, I think I'll need to make colors just for this thing. Okay, let's... how can we do this? What I'll do is I'll take a slice out of So I'll take that because I don't want to keep moving stuff around. I want to have the references just right next to me and be able to sample from them. So we'll put that here for now, and then go back up here, and then grab this one as well. Okay, then I can hide that layer, and I can move these kind of to wherever I want. Move those here. That way I can see them regularly. Okay, so we want to make it kind of match with that kind of coloring. I actually like the coloring of this one. I think it could work. This one's a bit different than this one here. This one might actually work in terms of its blue colors, and then I can just figure out the gray colors and hopefully get a good result. Because this is something that I always have a challenge with, is the coloring. Because the coloring is very important for setting the overall aesthetic and setting the mood, or just the overall intent really of the artwork. The coloring makes a huge difference. So let's see what we can do here. Let's sample first. So we'll go from the, I guess the darkest, and put that here. I kind of like that. So if we went that there, and then what about this here? And then went a bit darker than for, no, actually, let's fill this out a bit more. That could work. That could work. That could definitely work. Let's try it and see how does it look. Okay, and then we'll bring in the inner outline and just make it a bit darker. And there's the barking dog again, as usual. Yeah, I think that could work in terms of our coloring, but I just feel like the outlines are a bit off. I think that's the main thing right now, is the outlines. Oh, I see. Okay, so I don't want this to be so dark. Actually, even lighter than that. Lighter still. Wow. Okay. I keep pressing the wrong button. Okay, so if that's there, then this shadowing kind of throws things off a little bit, but I'll fix that later. I think that looks better already. Let's see. What about the yellow? What can we do about that yellow? Because I think the white and the gray colors, they're pretty standard. They're okay. I do need to darken it up though. I think to make it just stand out a bit more. So let's do that. I'll just darken this up, not by much, just a little bit. The colors, I feel like they still have room for improvement, but I think it's pretty good for this iteration. In terms of iterations, I think this is pretty good. So what I'll do is I'm going to grab this. And this is the test that I like to do, which is to bring it into the actual environment. Let's collapse that. Collapse that, hide all of that, reference stuff, and then let's bring in all of the environment stuff so we can see not references, environment elevation 0. Oh, okay. So what I like to do is bring it in and just see how does it look when it's next to everything else. Can just put it on this layer for now. Okay, so the question is, does this object belong here? If you were to just look at it, does it belong? If it cast a shadow, of course it would make a difference, but I feel like the colors are a bit off. It's a pretty good current iteration for a second iteration of this object. I think it's pretty good. I think I'm going to go with it for now, just because I don't want to spend too much time on just one object, because I will be making future iterations, of course, down the line. But for right now, I just need something that I can bring into the game, and I need to do some color variations of this. So I need to have a bunch of colors. I need to have, so this blue one, I need a green one, I need a purple one, and I need a red one. So I need 4 colors to this. So let's do that real quick, and then just kind of see how it looks. So I think it's pretty decent for the current iteration, though. I'm pleased with the result. Still need to do the cube afterward. So it's something that I don't want to spend too much time on, but at the same time, of course, I would like to get it to look appropriate for the current usage. Okay, so I'm going to keep the previous iteration because it just helps me visualize and see where was I before and where am I now. It's just something that is helpful to me. And then I'm going to take this one and we're going to make a different color variation of this one here. So we'll take this one and we'll make this into probably the What other colors did I say I needed? Okay, so we have blue, we need green, we need purple, and we need red. Okay, so I'll need to sample some colors again just to see what we got. Okay, so in terms of red, I think the Lollipop red is pretty good. Actually, I'm going to grab both of these because I like their colors. So we'll grab both of those. Then what we need is green, and I'll probably take the green from this. Is kind of what I'm thinking. So I'll grab these 3 objects. Let's move that over there. And I'll remove this. I don't know why I really put it there. Okay. And I'll just cut that in and have it in clipboard memory. And we'll go back to our previous layer. Okay. And then this is what I'm going to sample the colors from. Okay, so let's go with the red, I think, first, just because I think this one should be fairly quick in terms of its coloring. The darkest part, I'm not sure which color I'm going to use, but I think I'll use this for this part. Yeah, that makes it a nice, very strong red. Might be a bit too much, but let's go with it for now and just see how it looks. Okay, and then we need a little bit darker. Okay, and then we need the outline, of course. As soon as you add the outline, it makes all the difference, right? I understand it's not exactly consistent with the other, but I think it's good enough for now. I'm not too concerned about it. And this gives me a little bit of practice as well for doing this kind of stuff, so that in the future I get better and better at making it. Okay, do we have a slightly lighter outline? Let's use this. Okay, so that should not be blue. I just noticed that. So that will need to be a gray. I think that'll make quite the difference, actually. Where's my gray? Over here. It's subtle, but it does make a difference. Whoops. Of course, I added to the wrong one. I did mean to add it to this one. Seems a bit too strong. It definitely seems too strong. What if we went with this instead then? Nope, that's too light. What about this then? Yeah, we can go with that. Nope, not dark enough. I need it to be slightly darker. So we'll choose a color that is just a tiny bit darker. Not dark enough. Oh, hello, Death J. Destin. Oh, sorry, I'm butchering your name. But hello, how are you doing today? Hope you're having a good day and looking forward to the weekend like we all are. I'm just doing a little bit of pixel art before I go back into doing some more programming. Not exactly what I wanted, but close enough. I'll go with it. So if I add that same color here, I think it kind of works. Definitely need to revisit this and fix up those colors a bit more later on. But for right now, I think it looks pretty decent. So this is our red-white mix. Close enough for now. I'm good, and how are you? I'm doing well, thank you for asking. Just having a little bit of fun working on my project on my spare time. I'm learning Unity and C#. That's great. How's that going for you? I know it can be a little bit challenging in the beginning, but once you get the hang of it and you start to get a bit more comfortable with it, it gets easier and more fun, to be honest. It's just that little bit of the beginning part that you just need to get over that initial challenge, and it just gets better and more fun. Okay, so I think I'm okay with this for now. Again, there will be future iterations, but I need more color variations. So then let's take this one. What I'm thinking is this color here for this here. Yep, that could work. And then this one here is not dark enough. Let's go with this one here. Yeah, that's darker. Definitely darker. Might be a bit too much, but we'll see how that goes. It is LOL. Yeah, well, what point are you at right now? Are you starting out and just learning the basics, or are you comfortable with programming to some degree and you're just looking to expand on your knowledge? Where are you at right now? Because everybody starts at the beginning, right? We all start at hello world. We all start somewhere, right? And then we build it up until you get a foundation of knowledge and skill set of using the tools that's available to you and the understanding of the language. And then from there, you just keep on building up and you get this nice foundation of knowledge that then you become comfortable with doing some pretty cool stuff. And then from there, the sky's the limit, if you want to even consider that a limit. So whatever your imagination is, you can pretty much make it. Oops. So that's how we all started, and that's exactly how I started. I'm no different in that regard. I'm comfortable with the Unity editor, and I'm comfortable on the most part of the input manager coding basic vector movements. I even solved a couple of problems myself. Well, that's great. That's really good. That's a great start. So what's your next step, and what is it that you're trying to make? I'm going to assume that you're trying to make a game because you're using Unity, right? I'm just going to take a guess on that one, but I think it's a fair guess. But what's your goal, though, and what kind of game are you looking to make? Okay, one more variation, I think, and I'll move on to the cube. Oh, I forgot about that little shadow thing. Okay, I'll move that now, because otherwise I'm going to forget about it, and I then will not be moving it once I forget about it. So let's clip that into place. and then take it from there, go and put it on here. Nope, that's it. And then here, I think that looks okay-ish for now. Okay, so let's do the green. Green, I think this is a pretty good beginning for it. Whoops. You have two game ideas. One is a smaller game and the other is your dream game, but I know I am too far from even starting my dream game, so I want to get the smaller one going. I would highly recommend you continue with that path. Don't go for your dream game off the beginning. Have you made any prototypes of whatever it is that you want to build? Because making prototypes, in my experience, is really helpful, and I cannot emphasize that enough, in that it is so helpful. Like, you basically take a system of whatever from your game, system, a menu, anything, any part of it, right? And you just build that prototype. So it's like a module or a component that fits within something else, and you just build that out. Like, for example, let's say you wanted to do a combat system, right? You just take the combat system, or even a piece of the combat system, and you just build that out. It doesn't even have to be visual. It could just be purely text output, but then it gives you a really good opportunity to experiment, to learn. And then later on, because you've built out that system, you can continue to build out other systems or prototypes, if you want to call it that, and then put them together and see how well they fit. And if they don't fit that well, you can upgrade one or more of them to make sure that they do work together, and see what it looks like. And the advantage with doing it that way is you kind of get the feel of it by doing that, and you get to experiment. You put a little bit of creativity into it, and you can get some pretty decent results. And that's what I like personally. I build quite a bit of prototypes myself. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. I built quite a bit of prototypes, and they serve all kinds of purposes, but they're really good, like in terms of figuring stuff out. Okay, so there's my 4 color variations that I'm going to go with for now. What do you guys think? Good? I think they turned out well. So this one's our first iteration. Then came the blue one, then came the red one, then this purple, light purple one, and then the green one. In terms of pillars, I think that's pretty good. I do think that the shadows need to be a bit darker, especially on this blue one. I feel like the red one, the shadows are good. The green one and the purple one, they're okay. But this one, the shadows just don't seem as dark. So let's make them a little bit darker and make it just kind of stand out a little bit more. Actually, let's go with the darker one first. I managed to make one feature work that I've been trying to figure, or been trying to find tutorials on, and found nothing, but using the Unity docs and trial and error got it working. That's great. That's really the best way to learn, because oftentimes you'll find tutorials that will give you really good direction, but you'll rarely find something that does exactly what you want to do. So you need to figure it all out yourself. And that's really important, because if you can figure stuff out, then you're on your way. You're well on your way. Too often, I've seen others who they look at a lot of videos in terms of watching tutorials and all this other stuff, but then never really go hands-on. And then when they go to all of a sudden sit down and do something hands-on, they're kind of lost, right? They can't really find their way, and they're struggling and wondering why they're struggling. So the best way to do it is just get in there, make something. It doesn't have to be the best artwork ever or the best programming ever made, right? It just needs to work. Even if it breaks under certain scenarios and you're aware of it, who cares, right? Just make it work. And then just continue to build up on it, and you'll eventually have something. It's really the best way to learn. Like I started out with Hello World. I started out with moving a sphere or rectangle across the screen. I started out with some really basics, like just building a button. How do you click a button, right? And then you click the button and then make it change some text somewhere, right? And you slowly just build these out, and the better you get understanding of it, like how events work and how to link things together to make one thing manipulate something else, or if you want to do a color change, or if you want to do some rigid body mechanics or colliders or whatever, conceptually, how does it work, right? You don't have to understand the intricate details, but conceptually, how does it work? And then you can figure out the rest of it over time. That's how we all did it. Okay, so I'm satisfied with these pillars for now. What I want to do then is I want to build out, where was that cube reference? It was in references, I think it was number 5. Oh, okay, never mind. So what I'll do then is I will add a new layer, and we will call this one destroyable cube layer 0. Okay, so then we'll work on this one, and this one should be a bit easier, I think. I'd like to hope so anyway. Nice thing is the solution I found solved problems I was having for many smaller, but also it solved another future issue that I will run into on a bigger game as well. So I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. That's perfect. That's how it should be, pretty much. That's pretty much what you should be aiming for, is to do exactly that. Because that's, if you can solve more than one challenge in one go, that's great. And I'll tell you a little secret. Don't look at what you're making as a problem. Look at it as a challenge. Look at it as a task. Look at it as an obstacle that you need to overcome. It is purely a state of mind thing. It's still the same, right? But when you're looking at something as a problem, that means there is emotion. The word problem has emotion associated with it. Separate emotion from logic, and all you see is a task. All you see is a challenge that needs to be solved. And ask yourself, are you up to the challenge, right? And the answer is, of course, going to be yes, right? You won't always get it the first time or the second time or the third time or maybe even the 10th or 20th time. But if you're up to the challenge and you're willing to try different things, you'll get it. You'll get it. Oh, hi, Uzak. How are you doing today? Looking forward to the weekend, I hope. I'm doing a little bit more pixel art, as you can see. And, oh, you haven't seen the pillars. Okay, so I was drawing some pillars. So here's what I got. So this was the first iteration of the pillar. This one is the blue one. Of course, there's going to be future iterations and it'll look better, but this is going to be the new pillars that I'm making, because I was using the trees and they're too tall, right? And then here's the red pillar, kind of the purple pillar, and the green one. So that will come into this area here when, because I was working on the level and I noticed that when we go into a game round, I got the synchronization of the position stuff working once the game round starts. But so the positions will work, just waiting for the new round to start. But I wanted to replace these because these trees are too tall, and those cubes, like the kind of like the bush cube, it's too it's not really meant for the game room, right? Whereas in the Flash client, you can see we got these nice pillars, but the pillars allow you to put something in behind it, right? And allow you to not kind of fully hide something behind there. Like if I'm standing behind it, look at the Flash client versus the new Unity client, right? The new Unity client, you're kind of hidden. And if I press a bomb here and I walk away, right, it would basically be completely concealed in the new Unity client. So I needed to make the pillars, and I'm kind of working on it. So here's what I did. I went and I redrew it or recreated it in Unity. And you can see it's got just enough of clearing behind it. So if there's a power up or if there's a bomb or a pickup item or whatever, it won't be hidden behind this pillar, right? And then I made the cube as well. So that's what I'm kind of working on right now. And then I'll be bringing them into here. So then we have some stuff in the game environment to be able to do that. And I want to add a little bit of animation to the destroy, similar to the Flash client. So then it'll look good. It'll look good. But that's kind of what I'm working on right now. Is so these are the new pillars with the height. Of course, they're not completed, and I want to have like a lot of different pillars and different like destroyable objects. Right now, I'm just going to go with the plain cube like before, but this is just a starting point, right? I got some ideas of other stuff, but I haven't found an artist yet. Eventually, I'll find one, but anyway, so these are the new pillars. So we got the blue one, the red one, the purple one, and the green one. Let me know what you think of them. But right now I'm working on the cube. So yeah, like I was saying though about the programming stuff though, look at it as a challenge. It makes a big difference for you as an individual. It'll make a big difference for you later on. Not right away, but it's just a state of mind thing, really. And you'll see the benefits down the line. Okay, so what I want to do is add a little bit of a highlighting, I think, on this part. So maybe grab this and have this be my highlight, kind of here. And maybe here. Just to make it stand out a little bit more. And then the face. Now this is going to be a bit tricky to draw out that face in a way that kind of looks good. So I'll have to just eyeball it for now. And then figure it out. Okay, so color-wise, we'll just grab that. Grab that. Oh, I need another, probably a little bit of a darker line on that side. So we'll go with this, go with the line tool. Okay, so let's see if we can make this face look like a face. That looks kind of okay, I think. Right? I think it looks kind of okay. These lines, I'll need to exaggerate these because these, they need to stand out a bit more. So what I'll do is I will actually take this one, bring it to about here, and then take this one and make it quite a bit darker and just exaggerate this line here. And exaggerate this line here. And then we'll make this side a bit darker. And actually, it's supposed to be. Why isn't it darker? Oh, yeah, no, it's supposed to be way darker. Let's see. Where's my. Okay, that's why. We'll sample from this. I would say something like that. Okay. Oh yeah, so now this line will need to be appropriately modified. Okay, let's do that. So that will need to be slightly darker from this point. Like so. Maybe even go like that. And then go like that. I don't know if I really like that. It was funny because part of my systems involve parenting and unparenting in code to make something a child and unchilded, and being able to rechild it on the fly. That has its challenges, believe me. I asked around and tried to look it up, and no one can point me in the right direction. And I managed to get it working exactly how I visioned it to work. Was great feeling. Yeah, childing can be challenging, and when you're childing one object under another, especially if you instantiate something, so it's good practice. Immediately after setting the transform parenting, right? Reset the rotation, reset the scale immediately afterward. So, and set the positioning at that point as well. And the reason why you do that is because when you're instantiating a prefab, sometimes you get some pretty weird results. I don't fully understand it myself sometimes either, but you definitely want to reset scale. Rotation, you don't need to if you're working with 2D. If you're working with 3D, absolutely reset rotation, and then set your position. And set your position either locally under the parent, or you can set it globally, which is just the position. So that's something I would suggest just kind of keeping in mind when doing that stuff. Okay, so I think that's my cube right there. Very simple, but it is kind of my cube. Oh, but it's not the right color. For my big game, it's not really for making something appear and disappear. It's more for grabbing and releasing kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Unity is a great tool, though. I barely scratched the surface in terms of using Unity and whatnot, but even still, I can do some pretty cool stuff. So basically, what I'm saying is the longer you work with it and the more comfortable you get with it, the better and more cool stuff you'll be able to do with it. And you can do some pretty cool stuff with Unity. I'd highly actually recommend, there's really good tutorials on YouTube that I'm sure you've come across at some point or are aware of, but YouTube is a great resource, and it's something that I highly recommend for watching videos. But then again, don't watch too many videos. Watch a video, try it, learn it, then watch another video. But don't watch a video on something if you're not going to use it just for the purpose of watching a video, unless you're using as education for down the line. That's still okay, right? Like, for example, Brackeys or some of the other tutorials, they're really good, both for beginner to intermediate kind of level. I watch those videos too when I'm looking for something, but try not to watch too many videos, and in between that, just go hands-on and figure stuff out that way. I discovered some cool things for camera stuff, and I also discovered cool things on the workflow for Photoshop. You can take your layers and pull from those layers as sprites, which is really cool. Bracky's good, but he stopped doing new stuff. He moved on to other things, but his stuff is really good. Yeah, he stopped doing it. Another thing I would highly recommend is to learn to use debug tools and their debug draw line. So what I like to do personally is, like, for example, because you can do things like, so the game is running, right? Look at these red lines that are being made, right? On the left side, right? So that's debug.drawLine. It's drawing from the camera. And what I'm using that for is for raycasting to see what should I be colliding with on this angle. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Thanks for pointing that out. Sometimes I forget which camera you guys see, but so here's what I wanted to show you though. So on the game screen, I'm moving my mouse, but only on this screen do you see the debug.drawLine stuff. You can use debug.drawLine for drawing a 3D line or a 2D line, and it's very helpful. And it will not make it into your final build, but it's very helpful for positioning. Like, sometimes I use it for, let's say, two objects collide, and I want to highlight the point of collision, and I want to have a marker there, right? You use debug.drawLine. It's just a line, but if you know how to draw a line, from a line, you can make a cross. From a line, you can make a square. From a line, you can make a cube, right? And it's just that simple. So the call is debug.drawLine, literally. And it takes a bunch of different parameters. It'll take the start position. It'll take the end position if you're just doing it 2D. And if you're doing it in 3D, same idea. Start position, end position, and direction. And you can tell it to time out at a certain time. That's why you see it expire at X amount of time. You can set the color, right? And it'll only show up inside of your scene view. It does not show up in your game. And also, when you do a build, it does not get built, right? It is only available during the Unity IDE. And it's a very helpful tool, one of many tools, and it's simple to use, right? You want to draw an object, or you want to see what path an object should go until it hits a collider of something, right? You do raycasting. That's exactly what this is raycasting, right? And then this is just a visual raycast, if you want to think of it that way, right? That's all it is. It's just a line. But just a line is so powerful to be able to just draw this and make usage of this one tool. It's saved me countless times in trying to figure stuff out, because sometimes you'll calculate something wrong, the number comes out, and you're looking at the debug console and you're thinking, yeah, okay, these values, they make sense, but you can't really visualize it, but you can see an anomaly in your game, and it's like, that doesn't look right, right? So you use debug.drawLine to exact the pinpoint positions and then look at those positions and decide for yourself visually now, does what you see visually make sense with match the debug output that you're putting, and is it the output that you're supposed to be getting? So I use it often, and this was one of the latest tests I did for my touchscreen controls. I wanted to see, like, if you go to click on something, what are you clicking on, right? Right now, my touchscreen controls won't come up because this isn't a touchscreen mobile device. But anyway, that's it. You can leave it in the game for future stuff too. Yeah, but of course you don't want to have too much because it gets a bit cluttered. What I do is I just have it in there until I don't need it, and then I just comment out that line of code because it's really simple. Like, I can show you what those calls are. Just give me a sec. I had it open a moment ago. So inside of here, what is drawing my line is where are we? Okay, so here we go. This is what's drawing that exact line that you're looking at. That's it. So this is debug.drawArray, but debug, if you look at it, so if you go click F12 on debug, you'll see all the different options that you have available. So draw line, you usually use for if you're just doing standard like 2D, you can pass in vector 2. It'll use the X and Y. But then if you want to draw what I'm doing, this one is a draw array. So it takes a start position, a direction, right? Color and duration. That's it, right? And you get that nice visual line. And then that line, you can make it into a cross. You can make it into whatever you want. It's because of that line that helped me figure this out. So when I bring up the navigation stuff, so we go into friends, it helped me with this, right? So watch this. When I go down one, it scrolls. Down another one, it scrolls to always have your active selection. And there's my character falling off the screen. But yeah, so I used it for something like this as well. I disabled the debug draw line calls, but it allows me to always have within view, because I was able to visually see the boundaries of the objects, and I used some calculations which are now disabled to help me create this type of functionality, because Unity doesn't have this built in. Unity, if you're scrolling through a scroll view and you're going through objects, it does not go to your current selection. It doesn't have that functionality as far as I know. But so I just went and I built this for myself, and it works out really well. And it's the same that's being used. I don't have enough people here. It's the same that's used in multiple parts of my project. Anyway, that's really it. It's just another tool to have, so that you use it, and it's really helpful. Can call objects from another class. I use debug to check for something is null to prevent the client from crashing. Yeah. Debug is very helpful. Another thing that I would recommend is understanding that you can color code your debug output if you're not aware of it. So my debug console, you'll see there's different colors. you can change color. You can do rainbow colors in one sentence if you want. It's just similar to HTML formatting, the color tag. So you put color, your message, and then end color or close color or slash color. And you can do whatever color codes that you want. You can pass in hex values, and this can output the line, so you can differentiate between critical and non-critical stuff. And then I took it even a step further, and I made my own debug console, which is helpful for me. So this is what I did. So this is now built within the game, and I have my own similar to that, right? And this one, you click on it to expand and collapse. I have different levels. So if I want just the, let's say the green stuff, I can just go for the green. If I want only the GUI calls, I can disable everything else, and I can just go GUI. Whoops. I closed it. Just collapse everything. Oh, I keep pressing the wrong button. But once you understand these things, you'll understand how to make it work for you, right? So this is basically the console output. It's not exactly that. Similar concept, but my own creation of it. And this will run on a mobile device. This will run on a Windows, Mac. It doesn't matter, right? So these kind of tools, I would recommend even building this kind of stuff out. I'm not saying build this, but building tools out helps you better understand the engine and how to make stuff work and do the things that you want it to do. That's really what I wanted to say. So those kinds of things are very helpful in the long run, because the more comfortable you are with it, the more you'll also be able to push the boundaries of what you currently know, and you'll continue to push those boundaries farther and farther. And that's, that's basically what I did. I'm making a multiplayer game, right? I do it for fun and I do it for educational purposes, but it's really fun. And you ask anyone who's played the previous Flash client version of this, it's a fun game. I mean, it was never popular, but it was fun to make, and I learned so much from it. So yeah, it's been great. Okay, so what I want to do then is I want to make some kind of variations to this as well. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to add any detail to this at this time. I think it's good enough for now that I'm just going to use it as is. I know the Flash counterpart has more detail. But what I really want to do is just make some variations and then bring it in, so we have some artwork inside of the Unity client that that'll kind of be more appropriate, should I say. And then as I continue to iterate on these, I'll update it in the Unity client periodically as well. So let's go ahead and make some color variations to this. Since I already made a purple, I don't think we had a purple one before. We didn't. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to keep it anyway as the first iteration. So I'm going to, yeah, I'll move it. Okay, so we don't need the reference anymore. Where's my reference stuff? So we can hide the references layer. Just want to make sure I'm on the right layer here. Destroyable cubes. Yeah, okay. So we'll put that one there. Move this one up here and make this one, I think, into the blue one. Yeah, let's make this into the blue one. Oops. I want this face to be that blue. And then we'll go with, I think, this blue for this face. This blue for that face. Nope. not dark enough. Let's go darker. Let's grab this one for that face. Yeah, it's kind of okay. And then we'll grab the outline color. That should be all I need for now. Yeah, let's go with that for now. Oh, I think I forgot to set the outline of the purple one. I did. It's using black. Okay, it should be purple. Let's correct that actually. We'll grab this one. Just in case I use it later. I don't want it to be a black. I want it to be a purple. But the face, I think I'll probably leave the face as black just because it stands out, or maybe even change that to being purple, because then the face doesn't stand out as much, but that might be better intentionally. Yeah, I think it is better actually. Let's go with that. Okay, so then I will need a slightly lighter color for, we'll say this here, this here. Could probably use the same color there. Yeah, I think that could work. Seems a bit too light though. Seems a bit too light. I think I'll need to darken it up a little bit. So we'll go with this and just make it a tiny bit darker. Tiny bit more, I think. Okay, and then the highlight now is way too bright. So let's darken that up a little bit. About there. Close enough. I think that's okay. Oh, wait. This was... Oh, okay. That's not exactly how it should be. Let's go use this color here. That helps it stand out a little bit more, I think. Okay, so there's my blue one, and these are easy, which is great because I'm gonna need to do an animation of these, like a destroy animation similar to the Flash client. So the easier it is now, the better it is for that animation, and then I can come in and clean it up and make it look better later on. For right now, I just want to just make the cubes. Okay, so we got the blue color. Let's go with the red color next. What I'm going to do though is, because I don't want to keep going up and down, grab that just to bring it in viewable reach. Just put that there. So I'm going to make those next, right? So it just kind of makes sense that I'll put it right beside it. That way I can just reference it directly and see kind of what looks good and what doesn't really look good right next to each other. I can say for sure that I am really looking forward to making some more progress on this project, so then it'll be playable soon, and I'll let you guys for the beta testers that are in the beta tester program to have a go at it, and we'll have some fun with it, and that'll be is something I'm looking forward to personally. Wow, that's dark. Okay, so I think that's a bit too much here. This one here is just way too much. I'll need to soften that up quite a bit. I think that's a bit better. And then I'll use that same color right here. And then we'll add a little highlight, even though it doesn't look great right now, but it'll look better later. A little bit of a highlight there. And then what is this? Oh, okay. Well, I don't really think that makes that much of a difference. So we'll just keep it the same color for now. Okay. So there's my my red one. And then this one, same idea as the others, of course. Okay, so that looks all right so far. I'm just not sure how I'm going to do the animations at this time specifically, because the animations is going to be a it's going to be a destroy animation, and that is going to be challenging. I've never done pixel art animations before, so I definitely foresee some challenges with that, but I'm confident I'll get it. It'll just take me a little bit of time to figure out kind of what works, and just take it from there. I know I'm not a big fan of this green color. I think there's definitely better green colors that could be used in this scenario, but it's what I got for now. So we'll just go with it. We'll just go with it for now. Okay, and there's my cubes and my pillars. Oh, right, wrong layer. Whoops. There we go. That's right. Okay, so we got the cubes, we got the pillars. So what I'd like to do then is bring them in. To do that, I'll need to do a little bit of exporting. Yeah. Okay, so let's grab them all. We'll grab each one and move them into the export layer. I'll do an export. I'll need to do a bit of prep work as well, of course. I will not be using the purple one. Actually, I may as well just bring it in. Whoops, wrong layer. I do that often. It's really easy to put something on the wrong layer, or sorry, to select the wrong layer, should I say, just because it's you sometimes forget which layer you're working on, and just zipping around all over the place, and it's like you don't think about it, you just do it. Okay, so I'll need to make the IDs match if I want to match the Flash client. So I'll need to take a quick look at the old Flash client and see what the IDs of the objects are. See if I need to do anything else. Okay, but what I can do is grab this. Whoops, there I go again. Let's actually, no, we'll cut that, put it onto this layer, and then grab this layer, and then we'll bring that into the export layer. Okay, I do need to bring in those little shadows. It's a little detail, but it's an important one. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it. So I'll need to grab it. I believe it's right here. And then bring that into the shadow layer here. Okay. Far from perfect, but I would say it's acceptable. Okay, so this will be my new stuff, and it's a good. The collection is building up. I mean, it definitely has some room to grow, and definitely has room for improvement. But overall, the artwork, I think, concept is heading in the right direction. Okay, so let's look at the naming convention because I want to make them match. Ugh, I didn't have a red one. I had a brown one. Okay, whatever. We'll just go with it. So I don't have, okay. I just wasn't thinking. That's fine. All right, so the blue one is which ID? I'm looking for specifically the ID. Okay, so blue is 0, green is 1, brown is 2, yellow is 3. Okay, so left to right. Oh, I have a yellow one. Okay, I definitely messed up the colors then. I wasn't thinking about it. Okay, so we don't have a yellow, and we don't have a brown, and that's okay. We'll make it work without it. We'll make it work without it. How are we doing for time? Okay, we're doing okay-ish for time. We're doing okay for time. All right, so blue is first, green is second. So we want to move green into the second, oops. Want to move green into the second position, and then brown, and then yellow. So I don't have those, but what about the pillars though? What are their IDs? Red is 1, red is 0, green is 1, blue is 2, and then purple is 3. Okay. That's a bit easier, I guess. Okay, so let's move those around. So what I want to do is blue is going to be number 3, red is going to be number 1, green is going to be red is 0. I keep calling it 1. It's actually 0. And then this one is going to be the last one here. Okay, so then these ones, since I don't have the colors, I got them wrong. That's fine. We'll just do this for now. Not a big deal. Okay, so what I'll do then is I will prep the artwork to bring those in. What is that? That must be from something. I don't know. I don't know, but that's fine. Okay, so what I want to do is file, what was it? Export sprite sheet? Nope. File, save as? Nope. I forget what it is now. File, export. That's what it is. Okay, so we go file, export. And then let's have a look at it, and just to make sure that it is looking okay, just in case something didn't get exported correctly or whatnot. Okay, version 26, PNG file. That looks pretty good to me. So the shadows came in, the objects are there. They more or less kind of fit in together in terms of coloring. Oh, there's definitely some, oh. Okay, so I accidentally left that layer in. Let's let's fix that real quick. I left that design layer in. When I do export, I should have taken out the work in progress. Yeah, okay. So that's the only mistake that I made. So we'll do another export. Export, do you want to replace it? Yes, I do. Okay, and we have another look at it, and it looks fine. Okay. So this is the part where I'm going to be doing the slicing and the prep work. And that's it takes a little while to do. I don't have, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I don't have a system in place that will automate it for me. So I do this stuff all manually for the time being. It's not like a huge deal, but it does take a bit of time to bring everything in and export it. Of course, I use Photoshop for that. Okay, so I got Photoshop ready to go. I'll need to open up the directory that I'll be exporting to see my file naming convention. Okay, so where did I export all of the assets to? Okay, I don't exactly remember, but I'll find it. I'll need to dig it up real quick. Let's see. It was in, okay, so it was definitely in my games. Graphical assets made by me. 3D textures, maybe? Nope, that's not it. 2.5D environment. There we go. That's it. So this is the naming format that I'm currently using. It's a naming format that I'm going to keep expanding on, because the naming file format is really important for being able to have consistency and to have scalability, like really important. So this is what I've come up with for now, and then I'm going to continue to expand on it. Every underscore separates a parameter from the other. But so that's what we're going to be kind of exporting to. So let's have a look at one of these and see what is it. So we'll go with the cube tree, which is going to be the closest to the open with Photoshop. So it's going to be the closest one to the little cube. And there's our object. So we can see that it's positioned right at the very, very bottom. And I actually want to move away from that because of the way that Unity averages objects that are used in a or that are used as a quad in a 3D plane in a 2.5D environment. The bottom row, the very first bottom row, can actually bleed into the top, which I don't understand. But it can bleed from the very bottom row into the very top. So what we want to do is not use the very, very bottom row and go 1 pixel up. That'll fix it. Unfortunately, all of my current assets are exported in this way. So anything moving forward from this point, I know now not to do that. So the new stuff that I'll be making will kind of follow suit in terms of this, but it'll just be shifted 1 pixel up and it'll have the right naming convention. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use this one as a rough template. So we have that open. We will also open up the main file. Okay. And since we're going to be doing this area, let's start off with the cubes. So what I'll do is just grab that, copy it, right? Paste it over top. And then position-wise, bring it down, but up 1 pixel. So it'll be right there. And then remove the bottommost layer. And that's it. Wait, this one is off-centered. Or is it just because it's the way it is? Oh, it's always going to be off-centered. Ah, that's something I didn't think about. So it's either going to be left 1 pixel too many or right 1 pixel too many. Okay, I'll need to fix that in the future. There's other artwork I made the same mistake on. I just wasn't thinking. You need to, if you want it to be centered properly, it has to be the width of it has to be an even number. It can't be an odd number because you can't split a pixel. If you split a pixel in a pixel environment, it just creates anomalies. It just doesn't work. Because this is going to be stretched over a quad. And then that quad is then going to be positioned. It's a minor detail at this time. Okay, so let's save it. Control-Shift-Alt-S to get the export menu. Okay, so then we'll save it as, and we'll need to go to that directory. Okay, so this one is cube for sure. Tree, not so much. We'll call this one block size small. Yeah, because it's not extra small, it's size small. Yeah, so it'll be size small and variation 0. And this is going to be the naming convention for this object. So the other ones that I bring in are going to have the same. So let's have a look at it. So this one was cube block 0. And here's our cube block 0. And that looks pretty good to me. Yep, I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's do the other ones then. Like I said, it takes a little bit of time, but not too much time. Just gotta get into the flow of it. And once you get into the flow of it, it just gets easier and easier. Okay, and then this one is just going to be variation 1. It's just that easy. Wait, nope. What happened there? Oh, it's because the name of it is still the same as the other one. Whoops. Okay. I almost overwrote something. Almost. It's supposed to be block variation 1. Okay, so I'll need to keep that in mind. And then we'll just keep going. I'm totally butchering the shortcuts here, but I'll get it eventually. I hope you guys are having a good start of a weekend. My weekend is just starting. This is basically the start of my weekend. I do this broadcast. And then, of course, get some good sleep and then have a great Saturday morning. I really enjoy the weekends because it allows me to do the things that I don't get to do during the weekday due to time limitations and whatnot. But then I try to make good use. Oh, I just keep forgetting about switching that tool. I try to make good use of the weekend. Sometimes it's just kind of a relaxed weekend, but for the most part, I do try to be productive in terms of do something I enjoy doing. And that's usually either work on this project or get some good exercise in, go biking, kayaking, whatever the case may be, just it helps me feel better. And it's just good. And now that the weather is nice, barbecue is absolutely on the menu. I'm a big barbecue fan. Barbecued food tastes great no matter what it is. It's going to taste awesome just because it's pretty much barbecued. It's something I really enjoy just because it just tastes so good. There's nothing else to say about that. Okay, so this one is going to be variation 4. Even though we don't have variation 4 in the Flash client, what I'm doing is, whoops, wrong button. It's okay to make these extra variations that will eventually get used later on. Because what I might do is just bring this into the environment and use it as an environment prop as well. I'll need to build in the functionality for these to properly display in a 2.5D environment using the prefab that I made, where I can just alternate in between them through a drop-down menu. But okay, so that's it for this. And then, so what I need to do then is I need to do an export of the pillars now. Whoops, I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, so this one has a bit more vertical height. It could actually probably still fit within the same. But I'm going to consider these as a size medium, not a size small. Let's see, what did I do with some of the other stuff that's about the same size? Okay, so that's roughly the same size. So let's have a look at that and see. Okay, so that one definitely has got some more vertical height. So that's a size medium. Medium can get to be pretty big. Okay, then that means that this is still considered a small. Yeah, that's what I'll need to do. I'll need to consider it still a small. Okay, so if it's still going to be a small, I might as well just use that same one that I was using before. which is this. I wonder, does this fit? Let's try that. Let's see if this fits inside of that. I'm not sure if it will, but it's worth a try. Oh, it does. Easily fits in there. Okay. Okay, and this one is even in terms of its width, so I don't need to worry about that. Okay, and here I thought it might not fit, and it fits with plenty of room to spare. Okay, so same idea, but this one is going to be a cube block. It's going to be, what's the naming convention going to be? It's going to be pillar. Okay, so I'll use one of these then. So it will be pillar, disc, small, 0. That's what it'll be. Disc because it's got discs, not because it's a hard disk or anything. Size 0. Okay, I think that should work. And then let's have a look at it. It should be grouped with my pillars. Pillar disk, and that looks pretty good to me. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. So that's one pillar. And then I just need to do the other ones. Oh, these almost overlapped. That was a close call. I didn't think about that. I was just moving stuff wherever, and I wasn't really thinking about it all that much. That's okay. Okay, so now we have our green one. I have a lot of stuff open right now. My computer is kind of not working as fast as it usually would. Pillar disk, small, variation 1. Okay, and then we're almost there. I don't know if I'll get into the shadow casters, but I do want to modify a little bit of code to get these displayed, and I think I'll be content with that for tonight. If we can get to that point, that would be great, because then I can pick it up tomorrow and have a really good starting point tomorrow. Not that I have to get it done, but I would like to get it done if possible. This one is going to be variation 2. One more to go. One more. Yeah, I did overlap them. I was missing a line. Okay, so that was a mistake on my part, but not a big deal. It's a minor mistake, or maybe I just chopped this one or cut this one incorrectly, or copied, should I say, to clipboard incorrectly, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. What I want to do is just get it to a point where I can display this stuff. So I'll need to get into the code next. Okay, so we're good on that. We're good on that. Don't need it. I just want to have a quick look at what I exported though. So we got that. That looks pretty good. We got that one. Okay, so those look good. What was the other one called? It was the pillar, tree, sphere. I don't remember what I called it. There's a bunch of stuff. It was something. Cube block, I think. Yeah, okay. Okay, so all of these look good. Okay, so I can take those and I can bring them. That's not what I wanted to do. I can grab that and I can grab pillar discs. And then what we're going to do is bring them into the appropriate folder for the assets. So I haven't built out a texture atlas yet. I will need to figure out how to do that, similar to a sprite atlas for performance and whatnot. But for right now, I believe it's all going into, where was it? It goes into, no, not there. Resources, images, sprite atlas. No, that's old. Definitely not there. Prefabs, no. Okay, I don't remember. Textures, okay, there it is. Textures 2.5D, yeah, that's where it goes. So I'm just going to copy and paste all of them into that directory. Okay, so they should be loaded now. I'll need to go in and change their settings. So I'll need to, actually, what is the setting? I need to change it to okay. So I'll need to say, I don't need that. Bilinear, I'll need point no filter. And then this will be a, I believe 64 by 64. Compression, none. I think that's what we want. Yep, okay. So I'll need to do the same for the pillar discs. Exact same idea. Don't need that. Point no filter. 64-bit. Whoops, not that. Compression none. Okay. So then the next step is to get it to work with some code. And to do that, I'll need to build in the logic for my prefab. I have that one environment block. I keep forgetting what it's called. Environment dynamic object, that's it. So this is my object, my prefab that does everything. And I got these awesome drop downs, which just lets me choose what it's going to be, hit run, and it'll do its magic. So what did we add? We added okay, so we have pillar, we have disk, what else did we add? So we have pillar disk. What we added was cube, I believe. Cube block. We don't have cube, okay? So cube will get added to the end. Wow, my computer's running so slow. Cube. And then block. I kind of wish I would have built out this enum differently. But for right now, I don't care too much. I mean, I do care, of course, but okay, so cube and then block, and then I'll need to test it out just to see what it comes out as. So we'll go back into scene. I believe I have a test object. Nope. Did I not have a test object? Let's run this and see what happens. I thought I had a test object. I may have deleted it by accident or something. Oh, okay, so I'm making those entirely by script. Okay. I thought I had a test object that I would just use, but that's fine. So what I'll do is I'll just grab environment. Whoops. Grab that prefab, drag it into there. Okay, so this will be our little test object then. So what I want to do is I want it to turn into, let's go and turn it into that pillar disk size small, I believe. Pillar disk size small, and then variation 0 and shadow and whatever. We'll figure that stuff out later. This is not going to work when I run it. It's going to fail, but I'll figure it out. Oh, and the character lands right on top of it. Nice. Okay. So let's see what happened. So what it's telling me is pillar disk small does not exist. Of course it doesn't. I didn't put it into here. And this is kind of like a temporary solution for now. It's just a huge switch statement. Of course, later on, I don't want it to be this. I want it to be more logically structured so I can have it be more dynamic. But in the meantime, this will serve my purposes well. Okay, so pillar disk, what we'll use is, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll just copy from one of these. Okay, so now we should have variation 0. It is a 64 by 64. Tiny bit of offset. Okay, I'll need to tweak those, but we should get the variation 0 coming out at this point when I run this. Excellent. It's buried into the ground. Of course, the values are slightly incorrect, but I think it's a good start. Okay, so if it's a 64 by 64, why did it get buried into the ground? Oh, it's the position. Okay, no, so it's correct. It's the position. The Y position is supposed to be 0.2. And that puts it directly on top of the ground. That's correct. And you can see it's Shadowcaster and everything is wrong. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Don't have a Shadowcaster yet. But yeah, no, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Okay, so that's our object. And then that means that the collider actually might even be... Can I not? Oh, I don't have jump. I totally forgot. I thought this was the environment prototype that I was doing the environment in. And I'm wondering, why can't I jump? Jump isn't working for me. It's actually, it doesn't exist in this. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I think that works fine. So let's add the other variations while we're at it. So it's variation 0 through... I don't think I'm going to do the Shadowcasters. What time is it? Yeah, definitely not. I'm not going to do Shadowcasters today. But what I will do is I will get this working, and I just want to see a level built with this. Okay, so when we go and we build out the game room level, and we, sorry, more specifically, when we, I want to directly modify this to be, yeah, okay, this is what I want to change. So primary, instead of tree, it's going to be pillar. And instead of capsule, it's going to be disk. Size is also going to be small, and then the variation ID. So now when we go and run it, instead of building out those trees, it now should have pillars. The pillars won't have shadows. I'll get into Shadowcasters probably sometime tomorrow off stream, and I'll build those out. But for right now, there's my pillars. Okay, so I can remove that test one, or at least I can put it in the correct position, and then disable it. So when we run it, and we go into a game room, I should be able to see, yeah, it seems like it's, oh, the offset. Okay, so I need to do the offset real quick. Dynamic objects. I think the offset is supposed to be... The offset, instead of 0.05, because 0.05 moves it forward 5, we want it to be 0.2 or 0.19. Let's try 0.2. And see what 0.2, whoops, not 2, 0.2. Let's see what 0.2 offset looks like. It's supposed to make that illusion compelling, so it needs to be brought forward for the fixed camera point of view to look right at that exact angle of perspective. Yeah, that's it right there. That's good. Okay. So let's go and change the scene, log in, and join a game room. Okay. So now we're getting somewhere. So now we have pillars, and those pillars match color-wise the flash up into this area. At least I think they do. Do they? Yes, they do. The colors are a bit different, so it looks like they don't match, and they don't cast a shadow. When they cast a shadow, it makes a huge difference aesthetically. When it doesn't cast a shadow, it just doesn't look as good. But as soon as it casts a shadow, it looks much better. Okay, so there's that. Can we... I think I got enough time to just add those cubes in as well, if I can. Yeah, let's do the cubes next. They won't cast a shadow. The shadows are temporarily not going to work just because they don't have shadow caster, so it should be giving me a warning. Yeah, so it's giving me a warning and saying shadow casters don't exist, and that's okay. Not a big deal. So let's go back to our test object. So what we want to create then is a cube block small variation 0. So let's have a look at that. Cube block size small variation 0. Perfect. So it doesn't exist yet, of course, but it will. Okay, so we're going to have 4 of those, and I'll just grab this just because it's similar. I'll do the offsets later. I don't really care too much about it right now. I just want to get it displaying. Okay. And this one will be 3, whoops, 2, 2. I keep saying 2, but I'm pressing the wrong button. Oh, and this needs a break, of course. Okay, so that should display. And then when I go to dynamically build that game room now, we should have both the pillars and the cubes displaying with the correct offset, but no shadow. Okay, that's fine. I'll do the shadow thing another time, but I think it should work. Okay, and there's my awesome cube with a completely incorrect collider. No shadow, but still, who cares? It looks good. Okay. And there we go. Wait. No. Where's my cubes? Oh, I forgot. Whoops. I forgot to set the cube. So when it went to create it, it created indestructible and then destructible. Okay, so this is what I need to change. I need to change this from tree to cube block small. Okay, that should work this time. Okay, and then I'll take out my test object. Okay, and there we go. Why do they all look blue? I think I overwrote the type. Ah, I did too. I reset all of them to variation 0 for testing purposes, of course. This time it should be it. So I'll just wait for Unity to catch up. We'll run it and see how it looks. There we go. That's better. Okay, and we'll just wait for next round to start, and that looks pretty good. I'm pleased with that outcome. It'll look a lot better with shadows being cast, but in terms of the actual graphics and positioning, the alignment looks correct to me. It just doesn't have shadow casters. Yeah, so it'll look better a bit later. Not quite right now, no polish yet, but I'm happy with this though. I think this looks pretty good, and this is pretty much where I'm going to be ending it for today, I think. Yeah, I think that's pretty good for today. Gives me a really good starting point for tomorrow. Oh, and my camera died. I didn't even realize that my camera died. I wasn't paying attention to it at all. My camera dies often. Sorry about that. Okay, but so that's going to be it for me today. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you like it, of course, follow me and to see when the next broadcasts are going to be. I do broadcasts on Tuesdays and Fridays. I work on the project, of course, in between that when I have free time in between work and whatnot. But yeah, follow me on Twitch, on YouTube. I do broadcast on both, so you can watch on whichever platform you prefer. And you're welcome to join the Discord of all the other players that are also waiting for the new client. And eventually we'll be able to play together online, just like the old Flash client. And this version is going to be a lot better and cross-platform, and it'll support touchscreen, mouse, keyboard, and gamepad. So it's something that I'm really looking forward to when we get it to that point and it becomes playable. For right now, it's still rough in its it's a bit rough in its early stages, but it's definitely starting to take shape, and I'm looking forward to it. But that's going to be it for me today. So hopefully you enjoyed this content. If you did, great. Hit that follow button, hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next broadcast. Have a great weekend.